Hello, this is Gwen again. Today is Thursday, April the 27th, and it's about 11:09 p.m. at night. I didn't know it was so late. Um, Today, this one is going to be entitled, We Know We Have Problems with White People, so what are we going to do about it? What prompted this one is that all day long I see various tapes, various recordings, and news about one outrage after another that are put on by white people against black people, or some other group of people against black people. One negative thing after another. Somebody's slighting us or doing something they shouldn't be toward us, and we haven't done nothing about it. But they tell each other about it. And I'm saying this, it is clearly established that these are a problem. I'm confused as to what our next step is. I have some ideas. I know what my next step is. There are people who are pointing out the problems and showing solutions, and we're not taking them. For example, Cynthia G, she tells you every week what the hell to do, and nobody's taking her up on it. At least not enough people. A lot of people are, but not enough. I'm on the same page with her on that about stop being lovers and stop. I think I'm a little bit further along, further than that, because I don't even want you to be friends of friends who are friends of white people. So let me go ahead and do me an overview of what I'm going to talk about. Why are we, and I mostly got them posed as questions. Why are we filming and reporting one outrage after another? It is clearly established that white people are a problem. So what is the point of repeating ourselves? My next category is what can we do about it? No one is making, and I got subtopics here. No one is making us be their friends. No one is making us be their lovers. We do not need to go to their places of entertainment. Rather, we don't need to let them go with us to our places of entertainment. We don't need to support their endeavors, and we need to find another way. So let me back up here. I've been looking at this topic is why are we reporting one outrage after another, but we haven't changed. I've been seeing one video or news report after another where white people are doing some messed up stuff. As far as I'm concerned, it's been clearly established that they're messed up a long time ago, a long, 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 long time ago. I got it. I got it way back in the early 90s. That's when I shifted gears and said, "Okay, you have proven to me that you're messed up, and there's nothing I can do to fix you. I'm backing off." I don't know why my rest of my family hasn't done that yet. So, what is the point of making all of these YouTube videos over and over again showing clearly that they're messed up and still going up in their face and getting in their beds and all of that? I'm tired of that. Okay, so if you're not going to get up out their bed, then shut up. I'm tired. Shut up. If you're not going to stop hanging out with them for fun, shut up. They got to understand, just like anybody else would if they had messed you over, that you're not going to fool with them. They don't have no evidence that you're not going to fool with them because you're constantly fooling with them. And I'm talking about my black people. If you're going to be up in their face and seeking them out for company and relations, then they haven't got no consequences. They don't know that you're mad. You haven't shown them you mad. Early on in my life, when I was mad at you, I didn't fool with you. And if you did something to me, I'm going to be mad at you. So I leave you alone. You go your way, I go mine. And I'm comfortable with that. And that's for everybody. So why are we still fooling with them for pleasure? I get that we have to go to work and I get that we have to do business exchanges. Beyond that, we don't have to be fooling with them. So why are you still fooling with them? You taping here, taping there. Are you expecting a dialogue to actually help? They got people sitting out dialoguing all over the place. It ain't working. It never worked. Even when they do pull themselves in a bit, it only lasts a short time. They pulled themselves in the 60s. They pulled them in the late 60s, early 70s. They did. They ringed themselves in, passed some laws and stuff like that. But it reverted. And then when I learned more about history, I saw that this process happened over and over again. The only thing we haven't tried is leaving them alone. We tried everything else. We tried explaining. We tried showing them. We tried giving in. We tried laying down. We tried falling down. We tried throwing our hands up. Nothing helped except walking away. I mean, nothing helped. The only thing we haven't tried is walking away. And I tell you, I am happy because I don't really interact with white people except over the counter or some kind of business. But I don't have white friends. I don't talk to them. And I don't let them talk to me because everything that's in there coming out of them is crap. If you were the greatest white person in the world, in my mind, you still haven't done your job. So if you want us, excuse me, the people of the world, to include black people, to find you as compassionate, nice people, then you got to prove that you are compassionate, nice people, and that is stopping your crap. So they haven't stopped the crap. The bottom line is that the crap is continuing, so I'm done. Been done. So that's my thing about what we can do about it. But I don't understand the point of us repeating ourselves. I don't understand what the point is because the people who are showing these outrageous acts by white people haven't changed the things that they're doing around white people. And all we're doing is bitching. That's never been a solution. In my work experiences and life experiences, I don't do a lot of bitching. When I was a little girl growing up, I was in the typical poor family where there are various kinds of people with various kind of personalities, some volatile, some calm, some violent, some not violent. And so when there might be a family event or something that's fun, but or just on a Friday night, everybody gets drunk, and eventually sometimes they start raising hell. And I looked at one time they were raising hell, and I was with each other, my family, and I looked at them and I said, okay, they were just talking about that 2 weeks ago, and they fuss about that, and finally things die down and it's over. But then 2 weeks later, they fussing about the same thing again. What that taught me, I said, okay, that's not a solution. All that cussing and showing how well you can turn a cuss word phrase and showing how well you can raise hell. It ain't you still fussing about the same thing you were fussing about a week ago. So I learned that cussing and raising hell ain't really a solution. All that does is get you to vent steam and get you real excited, but you didn't solve anything. I learned then that if I really wanted to resolve something, I didn't raise hell about it. I implemented things to make sure it A, stop happening, and B, never happened again. Or C, I'll remove myself from the situation so that I see that I'm not in a position for it to happen. And that was my solution. And I figured that out as a very young person. If there's something I didn't like or didn't want to happen, I bide my time. If I was too young, because there were things I didn't like, things I did like, and I would wait until I'm in a position to make a change, and I'd implement that change. And I would think clearly and plan my steps and do it. And I also learned a certain amount of self-reliance and independence. I'm not talking about not recognizing interdependence. I'm talking about independence where I can control my resources to make the change that I need. And the word independent female has got such a bad connotation, but I think that they got it wrong. Independent females are females who don't want to be burdens on other people because they figured out nobody is going to take care of them. So they got their selves together and started to take care of themselves. And then they find men coming out the woodwork at the 11th hour wanting to tell them what to do, and they ain't going to let you do that because, well, most of these independent female grew up without fathers, a good number of them. And that's my case. My mom was married to my father, but she left him when I was really young. So there was no male role in the house. So I didn't have a father showing me a father role. Men didn't want to even. So I'm saying that no male has ever bought me a meal or wiped my nose or nurtured me as a child. So I grew up understanding that that wasn't needed for me to grow up. And I'm fine with that. Except don't show up as a man trying to be my boyfriend as I done got grown, and grew my curves and kind of cute and self-sufficient, and then you're gonna show up wanting to leave the household. It's not gonna work. No, 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 no. Some women will buy that, but I won't. I'm a different kind of woman. But I don't, when I want a man, I want a companion, a friend, and a lover. I don't want a father. I do want a partner, but I don't want a daddy and I don't want a leader. I paid my dues. I earned my own leadership role. And in my mind, a penis don't make you smarter than me. We all know what happens when you think with your penis. So that ain't a reason to think or lead. If your penis leads you, no telling where you go. It never helps you make good decisions. So I don't know why a man think he ought to lead. And sometimes you're stronger, sometimes you're weaker. I know some big, tough women can beat the hell out of some tough men. Ultimately, the strongest man would probably, strongest person on earth would probably be a black man, but there's some black women all in that mix too. And probably the weakest person in the black community might be a female, but there are going to be some men and women in that continuum. There's a lot of men that can get beat up by women, and there are a lot of and I've seen men get beat up by women. I know a lady that regularly beat up men. Ready, she could lift about 200 and something pounds over her head. And when I was 5 years old, I saw my mom fight, and she body slammed the dude. I don't know what he was doing to her or trying to do, but she got tired of it and she picked him up over her, body pressed him up in the air and slammed him to the ground. And he laid there stunned. And she finished putting, doing something. She wasn't even excited. She didn't even finish beating him up. He was laying there. And my friend was walking by. She said, "Oh, that lady, she can fight. She does da da da." And I just nodded as I waited, for her to finish because we were waiting on the bus. But that was her. So I never thought women were weak because the women that raised me and that I know weren't weak. They were physically strong. She was a farm girl. She told me of how she grew up at about 6 years old. She would be pulling farm produce in 50 and 60 and 75 pounds when she was a little bitty thing. So she grew up working hard. All of that's to say that we are different kind of people. We can't take on white priorities. We got a whole different set of priorities. So only thing we're doing when we're fooling with white people is diminishing ourselves. So what is the point of repeating ourselves with all these outrages? We already have it clearly established that that's a problem. White people are a problem. The next level of establishment is realizing that we are not the problem, but we got some things we can work on. And that's what I want us to do. This next part is what can we do about it? Understand that no one is making us be white people's friends. Nobody can pick your friends for you. You don't have to be their friend. You can go to work. Everybody has to go to work. They have to go to work. You can go to work and have a completely pleasant work environment. You do not have to be, but you do not have to be their friend. You don't have to sit at the lunch room with them. You don't have to be having all this other stuff going on. However, if it does make you have a pleasant work environment without the hostility and stuff like that, fine. But know that there's a wall between you two. She is not gonna that your coworker is not your bosom buddy to take into your confidences. Don't be a fool. Do not be that big a fool, please. Okay, let me pause right there for a minute and think and let you let's talk about that a minute. Black females understand, and black males. I don't know. I think it happens in black male bonding and situations, but understand that everything about the white female is about sex. Everything about her. If every underlying every motive she's doing is about something about sex and things like that. But she's going to try to goad you into having conversations about your personal life. She's going to goad you into talking about your kids, your family life, your house, what you got, what you don't have, what you do, what you don't do, what you go see, all of that. White people are notorious about figuring out what other people are doing. You have no reason to tell them that. And everything you do tell them is going to be ammunition at a later date. Understand that. They're going to goad you into picking clicks and people that you do and don't like. That's a setup. They're going to tell you what they do and don't like, but it's not going to weigh the same as yours is. So keep your private business to yourself. Keep your home life to yourself. Dance around it, speak in general, or just shut up. My people, when I retired, gave me a good send off. I mean, I'm not talking about no long winded party. I'm talking about people from all over the building, from all areas of the building coming to say goodbye to me. Because I shut the hell up. Nobody knew my business. They knew what some of my views were, but I focused on work. When I showed up to the job, I focused on work. Everybody that interacted with me knew that's what I was about, and that's what I did. My conversations primarily was about work. They don't have a clue about what I do at home, and I didn't tell them. And I didn't do a lot, but there was no reason for them to know. And I was careful about who I spoke around. I'm fortunate because I live in the D.C. metro area when it's primarily black, but I was never stupid enough to think that I could reveal all of my business around white people. I would recommend you adopt that policy as well. Your personal life is ammunition. Okay. I can give you an easy example. I remember I was working at a photo lab and I developed pictures. And this idiot of a coworker who was black male, an older black male, he wanted he took some pictures and a few shots that were, I guess, cheesecake kitty, not kitty porn, but grown women in a bubble bath with soap on them. And I guess he was trying to, I don't know what the hell he was doing, but it was sort of lewd and it looked stupid. But he wound up losing his job soon after that. Not because of the film directly, but because the people there didn't like him. And I think that those pictures were a catalyst. He didn't have to do that. I apparently I don't know whether they saw they didn't see him from me, but I do know that they would look at stuff. I think for sure that they looked at him and they decided they didn't want him to keep the job, so he lost his job. I can go on and on about various things where somebody sat down and revealed their private business and somebody white didn't quite like it, that's in management, and they have them little whispered side back in the alley conversations or back in the rooms conversation, and they decided to implement their sneaky procedures to get rid of you. That sneaky procedures is that among the things they could do is everybody in the room. Let's say you all went out to lunch at the same time and you all came back 10 minutes late. They only recognized you as being 10 minutes late. They didn't document anybody else. Okay? And then you guys do it all together again and you come back 10 minutes late. They didn't document anybody else, but they did you. This time they're having a conversation with you about being late. You're saying everybody else is, and they will say they don't have no record of that. And they will be right because they did not make a record of that. They just talked about you. And that's what they're going to say in so many words. We're just talking about you. You won't have a leg to stand on because you were indeed late. And they that's the kind of sneaky stuff. When I'm in a workplace and I figure out I've been targeted, I start implementing my procedures to get my ass out of there because I know that they will manipulate and fix things so that you will need to leave, but you won't be leaving on your terms. So I already know what I already see. I will be seeing the signs of the game being played, and I will. Next thing you know, I'm already in another department because I will have silently moved to another department, and you won't know about it as my boss until the paperwork is signed, sealed, and delivered to your front door, and you won't know. I've done that. I've done that more than once. Only the last thing they'll know about me leaving is that they requested my personnel file to be transferred to the new department. I have done that several times. When I didn't like what was happening, I'd start looking around for something else to do because I still needed a job, but I didn't need to be working with that particular group of people. So yeah, you can get yourself out of there, but you have to be quiet, be focused, mind your own business, and then have sense enough to look around and figure it out. When got my first job in the Air Force, the first thing I did was sit down and read the procedure book about the rules and things, about what I could get away with and what I couldn't. What happens when I do X and what happens when I do Y. Excuse me. I knew about the table of penalties in federal jobs. I knew about all the things that could happen when you do something. And I knew what I could do and get away with. I knew how it worked. I knew how to transfer. I knew how to, all this stuff. I read all the rules, long books of rules. And I was about 20 years old. So it's not magic. I'm not brilliant. It was just something that I figured that would be a good idea for me to know to protect myself. And I didn't see myself as having enemies, but I figured that if I was going to be working somewhere, I needed to know what to do and what the rules were. And so that's what I did. I sat down and read all the rules, every one of them. So when somebody came to me about something, I could quote that rule to you. Couldn't quote it chapter and verse, but I knew where to find it and I knew what it said. Okay? So there are things you can do. And so among the things is, yeah, keep yourself a pleasant work environment. Always be professional. Always be above reproach. I would say don't spend a lot of time cussing and shouting at work or pointing out flaws in other people. I say turn around and focus on your job. Get ready to be bored if you have to be quiet. Put on headphones. Do what you have to do to stay where you're supposed to be at doing your job if you're going to be working for people. Focus on that. You don't have to have a lot of white friends, and you certainly don't need to have them in your business. You don't need to be taking them home. You don't need to let them follow you around. Let them know that you're displeased about this society. I learned a long time ago that my solution to problems was real solutions. I knew that you didn't get anywhere fussing and cussing, but you did get changes when you implemented changes. Fussing and cussing vents, nothing else. So all that marching and shouting is just blowing off steam. You won't get a solution because of that. No one is making us be their lovers. That's right. If we stop having sex with white people, things will change immediately because they are driven to have sex with anything, and especially us. We can stop that crap right right there. We never should have interbred with them, like had kids because I swear we demean the bloodline. I've got Slavic blood in me, about 8%. So 8% of the Slavic area, and that puts about 2% of 8% Reese's monkey in me. So that's 0.002%, 0.002% Reese's monkey. And please don't quote my math, but it's a little bit of Reese's monkey in me, and I'm not happy about that. Or rather, Neanderthal DNA in me, and I ain't happy about it. But fortunately, I don't feel it, so. And I do believe I would feel it if it was there. We don't need to let them go with us to our places of entertainment, such as to the nightclub or to the whatever events, because all they're doing is spying. I hate to say it like that, but that's what that is. I I look back on things and I know that's what they were doing, was spying. My thing is that if you're a white person and the racist is sitting at your dinner table telling racist crap and you didn't call them on it, then you're not my friend. You're not a friend to black people because you were silent when the racist was talking, and you didn't reel them back in when the reeling was good. This, you gave them a safe haven. This is how they get more powerful. It's because white people aren't putting them in check. So unfortunately, the nice people who don't put them in check have got to face the same consequences, and that is us leaving you alone and backing away. Don't need to take them out to your nightclub with you. They're only wanting to have sex at the with somebody black at the club. That's all they're doing. Before, when I used to go to the clubs and I were out the club, but we would go to clubs to dance, exclusively and specifically to dance. I didn't go to what I would call a singles bar until I was like 27 years old in Denver, Colorado. And that's when I walked in and I knew that people, I finally got it through my head that people were on the hunt for sex. They weren't there for dancing. And that was my first singles bar. The rest of them was us going out as people, young people, out dancing and having fun, talking to each other, dancing and acting silly and having antics and laughing. Whole different purpose. If they want to get together later, it would be well after that event, and you would go to a special event with somebody that you think would be a potential boyfriend or a potential girlfriend. But and that's where the club, you might be able to exchange numbers to contact each other later, but nobody's going to stop the dance and the fun. But white people don't think like that. They really do go. I didn't know when I was having white people around me when I was going to the club. I didn't know they were looking for sex. I, I really didn't know. And they weren't getting it that night. They were gonna have fun and dance and act silly, but these days they're looking for sex. I assure you. Okay, we don't need to support them in their endeavors. I'm not saying to go to work and sabotage everybody, but you don't need to be spending your entertainment dollars on their crap. Not all the time. We can start learning to do our own thing. And right now, I'm backing off as much as possible. For example, one of the endeavors I don't intend to support them, if at all possible, is get on aircraft. I ain't flying. I had long since. I mean, when I see you doing something stupid or that I don't like, I ain't gonna fool with what you're doing. So I stopped flying a long, long time ago. Right when I think in the 90s, not 90s, but early 2011, right after they implemented that stuff at about 9/11, I stopped flying because I didn't like all of the new rules, all of the new stuff you had to do. I didn't like that. So I don't fly unless it's like all the way to California someplace. But if I can drive it in a day or two, I'm going to drive it. I'd rather drive, and I do. And so I'm glad I had long since made the choice not to fly because they lost me a long time ago. This new stuff isn't even relevant to me because I the scenario that they're having don't even apply to me. Only time I flew was last time I flew was years ago. I think 2011. I had to go to a training mission from my workplace, and I went on and followed their itinerary that they set up, and among that was flying. And even then, I forgot what happened with the ticket counter, but they it was overbooked, and then something else happened, and we had to all get off the plane. And then I was at the counter, and I guess I had this look on my face, and I was asking the ticket lady, "Can well, how much does it cost to get first class?" She says, "We're overbooked. We can do it tomorrow because I think they we had to change planes, and so the one we were on was something wrong with this, so we had to get on another plane. We're supposed to." I was at the counter begging to change my ticket to first class. She says, if you opt to fly out tomorrow morning at so and so hour, I can put you in first class then. I agreed. So essentially, I was off of the plane I was on originally, and I got put up in their beautiful hotel and flew first class out of there that next morning, about 11 or so. It was great. That was great. I have no complaints. It was flying out of Orlando. I stayed overnight in the Orlando Airport Hotel, which was a luxury hotel room. I can't say enough positive stuff about that. I never seen a hotel room that luxurious. That was nice. I got to give them that. And flying first class was nice. But the look on my face when I had to fly coach and having to sit on that runway for about 2 hours, and then I went to that ticket counter, the lady knew that I had had it. I was sitting surrounded by kids in a family. It was miserable. I don't want to fly. I didn't. I knew I didn't want to fly then, and I knew I didn't want to fly even more. And that was on the flight back. The flight in, some lady. Oh God, a whole nother story. But it was terrible. Everything about it was. It needed to be on TV. It's right up there with Walmart shoppers blogs. It was bad. So what I'm saying, find another way, okay, and back off as much as possible. And of course, it goes without saying that I'm not fooling with Shea Moisture anymore. I'm going to let my supplies dwindle down that I already bought because they already got my money, so I might as well finish out them products. But I ain't buying no more of their stuff. In fact, since I can't be sure that it is black owned, black run, and black employees, I'm gonna start trying to figure out how to mix up my own junk. So figure out what works on my hair and mix up my own stuff. My black hands let me know that it's black made because I got black hands. So that's one way I can tell. When I speak of black owned businesses, you got to be having black people on your staff. The reason why I advocate black owned businesses is because nobody hires black people, so we got to make our own business to hire each other. Okay? You don't you don't get to talk black owned business just because you're the owner and ain't nobody else in your business black. You didn't hire black people. You didn't spend your money in the neighborhood. You didn't let it recirculate. You didn't do things to build a black community. Building the black community is putting money in black people's pockets so they can spend money in the black areas. Okay? That I could go on and on and on and on and on about it, but what I'm saying is that that's a two-way street for black people. And so I'm gonna leave Shea Moisture alone, but yeah, I'm done with them. Okay. Long ago, number five here is we don't need to go to their stuff. Long ago, I was in Denver, and me and my friends, I think I might have been by myself or with a friend at the time, black male, gay guy. Because I told you about, if you ever listen to my other recordings, I told you that I used to hang out with gay guys because I couldn't be happier. These are well-groomed guys that were handsome and could dance, had witty banner, and I was happy. Yeah, dancing all night, laughing. Bunch of me and a bunch of gay guys, and they are cute. Hey, I couldn't ask for more. But anyway, anyway, one of these clubs in Denver I heard was a good club, but when I got to the door, they told me it was crowded and I couldn't go in. And I just got the feeling because somebody had said that they didn't like black people before I even went over there, and I just wanted to see if they would let me in, and they didn't. The guy at the front said they were crowded and they couldn't let, and that they didn't want me to come in there. And I left, because I never been one to want to go where I wasn't welcome. All you got to do is indicate the least indication that you don't want me around. I won't be there, and that's for anybody. So I was gone before he could, get the words out of his mouth. Fortunately, nobody was around to see it because I think I would have been embarrassed or humiliated. But I understood that I wasn't welcome. Then later on, another club, asked me to leave, but I wasn't sure why until later because I thought I was just drunk and acting unruly or something. But I figured out later that it was because I was black. And so, 2 weeks later, the club was almost closed down. It was so dead, and I think it did just go out of business within a very short time because all the black people stopped going. Because we're party animals. That's what we do. White people hang out with us to party, and so if no black people are there, the parties dies, and it did. And they all the white people, the ones that were in the club, I think they left in solidarity to the black people that found they weren't welcome. So it it wasn't. I understood it, and these were white gay bars that they were owned by white people. That is, and so I wasn't mad at them for not wanting me to go there because in my mind that translated is I ain't got to let you into my stuff. So I don't have no problem with white people not letting us into their stuff. That means we ain't gotta let them in our stuff. Don't feel bad. I like that. I don't feel no guilt when we don't let them in our stuff. So I'm good. So those are some of the things that we can do to help ourselves. And mostly backing off of them and then focusing on ourselves and each other. We can have a hole in the wall club and have a party. It don't have to be a fancy thing. The less white people are in it, the easier it is. Really. They clutter up junk. Bitch about stuff. Wanting this, wanting that. Just pop a cork on something and fry some chicken. We happy. Really. There's so many things we could be doing right now to get ourselves out of trouble, and I swear we could be out of trouble in 60 to 90 days. Almost it matter of fact, we can start almost immediately being out of trouble. But first thing we got to do is start backing off of white people. Stop being their friends and lovers, and stop telling them your business. Stop letting them in your house. Stop letting them in your office. Stop letting them do anything that's close to you. And that'll be the first few steps. Let's try to work on that. All of us as people, black people, stop being their lovers. Stop being their friends. Gradually back away. Make excuses not to go out to their place. Don't invite them into your place. Figure it out. Okay, let's work on that. Just work on those two steps. Okay, and then if I see oh, I didn't write this down, but I do want to say this. If there's any context in any situation where you see another black person getting jumped on, you jump in. If you see them getting jumped on by any other race, jump in. Jump in. You say that's easier said than done. I say it's not because I did. I did, so help me. I'll tell you what happened. I was going to the local university as an adult student. But I also joined what we call the International Students Club, which was great. These were kids from all over the world who had come to our city, from the students from all over the world. And we had a little club, and I was one of the local residents. And the kids from all over the world. It was fun, and we were gonna have a little dance at one of the nightclubs. But before the dance, I wanted to. It was nighttime. It was late, and I decided I was going to, before the dance started, was going to make a quick trip out to Walmart, which was about like 5 miles away from the school. But if I got there and back, I would be in time for the dance, and that's what I was going to do. But on my way back, I saw about like five white men jumping on a black man. He was on the ground fighting and tussling, and I could see what I saw was all these arms and legs, the white arms and legs moving violently. And then I looked down and saw it was a black man. It was sort of like, is that somebody on the ground? And then I looked carefully, and it was a dark skinned black man on the ground under these 5 or 6 white men. I was driving by and I turned around and I said, well, I'll be damned if that's going to happen. And this was in the early 90s, okay? Because I hadn't graduated yet. I said, I'll be damned. I'm in this. And I was by myself with these 5 white men. And it was going to be, if it was a fight, it was going to be me and that guy and then 5 white men. But that guy was not going to be standing alone. I was going to be fighting with him against them. And then I said, okay, how? And as I was doing it, because I was mad, as I was doing it, I said, okay, how can I get him up off of him? And I gunned my car toward him in that parking lot. I did. I revved my car engine, and then they saw my car coming, and I was like a few feet from it. And one of them yelled, call the police. Hey there, call the police. And then I hesitated because that was an odd thing to say. If you're doing wrong, you ain't gonna call the police. And so I hesitated, but I was still getting out of my car. And then I looked at him because they had stopped then and looking at me. And I said sarcastically, can we all get along? You know. And one of them said, this is not a race thing. He was in the club doing X, Y, and Z. He didn't say it. They said in the bar or something like that. But they were telling what he did wrong. I said, well, why you got him like that? Well, we were trying to catch him for the police because he was running away. I said, okay, then call the police. They talked me down, but I didn't leave. The rest of them left, all except for the bar manager. And so me and the bar manager and the guy, I stood with the bar manager. The bar manager went on the bar property, and he had the guy with him, and he was standing there. He said for the guy to stand there and wait for the police to come. I never left that guy because if the bar manager had made a jump on him, I was going to jump on him. So I stood just outside of the bar property line, like 3 feet from the door, and waited for the police to come. And we waited on the police. And the guy was, talking, but he was a short black man. And the other guys had already left. The black man that was in the club came out. He didn't walk out the door until he saw me, and he came to the door and kind of looked around. But anyway, we all knew I was going to jump in that fight if they didn't stop, and it was just me by myself. But that man was not going to be getting pounded without me by his side. So either it was going to be me helping, and I was convinced I was going to whoop the shit out of him. And that was, yeah, yeah. And that which I couldn't whoop, I was going to run over. Something was going to give because it was going to be ugly, and I wasn't going to be, I, I wasn't going to go down last. Somebody was going to be hurt. And they knew that. They could see that. They saw that clearly because they stopped immediately. But so, yeah, I was willing to fight beside a black man who was stupid enough to be in a club with these idiots in the 90s. with this, I'm sure, a little coon butt, because he was in an area where most black people don't go for partying, but I suspect he either worked with them or something like that. Probably even thought they were they his friends during the day, but he yelled he was going to kill everybody and ran out, waved around the box cutter apparently and ran out. But I was willing to fight beside him. So yeah, if you see somebody black getting jumped on, jump in it and whoop the shit out of them. Especially when they getting jumped on about more than one. Like that young lady in Penny's that the guy wrestled with. He didn't have authority to put his hands on her. That's not store procedure. And two or three women, black women, can jump on him. The one that hit the kid. Y'all should have been jumping on that guy. That's white girls shit when they stand by and let something happen or wait to be rescued. Black women don't get rescued like that. So we learn to fight. And I'm not talking about this little windmill and wailing away shit. We learn to punch. Straight punch, jab, uppercuts, and all of that. We didn't do the Superman punch either because you lose too much kinetic energy in the air. You you got to aim a certain way going down, and they say that it adds to your weight. But if you only weigh 100 pounds, you ain't add nothing because you only punch it 100 pounds. When a good punch is 200 pounds, 2 or 300 psi, pounds per inch. So you gotta. And these women that I grew up with knew how to fight. We didn't play, and we fought, blocked, and all kind of stuff, and so yeah, learn how to box if you're gonna be out there. So yeah, and especially with somebody jumping, and then don't step foot in the door. But that store, whatever the facility is, needs to know that you all aren't happy. Okay? And if they jumping on a sister, it's especially somebody in your family, even a roach got a can defend itself, and it's young. Okay? Even a roach has a right to defend itself. And random white people jumping on you is no, they don't have a right to do that. And if they do jump on you, you have every right to wail on them and beat the hell out of them. Okay? Okay, I just had to put that in there. So I don't want to see no more videos of no more black people getting jumped on without other black people jumping in there and whooping. I want to see a video of you standing up for your black family and friend and beating the shit out of them. That was one of the things that's changed. We didn't used to put up with somebody getting jumped on and there not be repercussions, severe repercussions. This bunch, you're telling them what they can get away with by not putting them in check. Okay, white people are not pulling nothing we haven't gave them permission to do, and by not beating the hell out of them early on or nipping it in the bud, we have told them they can do that. I would like for that to change. Same thing with anybody else doing any other thing stupid with us. Okay, so let me I just wanted to put that out there. Okay, that's the end of this one. Thank you for listening.